1, 2, 1, 2, 3. Hi, in this video we're going to learn how to play the major scale across the fretboard in any key, and that gets to be pretty exciting. So grab your guitar and let's go. In our last lesson we learned how to find any note on the fretboard and how to form the major scale in any key on the fretboard. And the major scale can be broken down into 5 patterns which conveniently connect to one another and allow you to play it across the fretboard in any key. Now there are a couple of things that must happen if you're going to get this scale down, get these patterns down, make them work for you. Number 1, you must memorize them. Now there's only 5, you can do it. And then number 2 is each of these notes in the major scale are important, but there's one that's especially important. It's called the root. I want you to memorize where the roots are in these patterns, especially on the lower strings, the 6th, 5th, and 4th strings. And that's what I'm going to emphasize in this lesson. When you see the charts that I put up, every note that is red is the root, and the root is the first note of the scale or the name of the scale. Okay, let's look at our first pattern, and for the sake of ease, I'm going to go ahead and begin on the lower part of the fretboard and work our way up. And we're going to start on the 2nd fret. So let's take a look. All right. We're going to use the 2nd through the 5th frets. And because we're using the first pattern here, and because the first note, you'll notice, is the root, we're actually going to be playing in the key of G. And we'll also learn the remaining patterns in this key just so that we can show how they connect and emphasize the lowest root in each pattern. However, as long as you know the root notes, you can play any of these patterns across the fretboard in any key. So let's go ahead and show how this pattern looks. Now I want you to notice that I actually assigned a finger per fret. I put my index finger on the 2nd fret, my middle finger on the 3rd fret, my ring finger on the 4th fret, and my little or pinky finger on the 5th fret. And every note that fell on those particular frets I played with the assigned finger. This is going to help you to be able to play the pattern more proficiently and quickly. Okay, the second pattern that we're going to do in the key of G that connects to this first pattern actually begins on the 5th fret. Let's take a look at it. It begins on the 5th fret, but the root is on the 4th string, right here. It is the same G. All right, and this is what it looks like. Now notice, although I've assigned my fingers to begin the pattern, I have some notes back here. So I'm going to slide my position back here to get these next 2 strings. And then, because I have notes that come up here, I'm sliding my fingers back. Let's play that again from the beginning. The third pattern begins on the 7th fret. That is in the key of G. The key really is knowing where the root is, and the root is on the 5th string in this particular pattern. Let's take a look at it. Okay, so on the 7th fret all the way to the 10th, again I'm assigning my fingers, and here is how this pattern looks. The fourth pattern that we're going to learn, also in the key of G, just to keep things connected, begins all the way on the 10th fret. Now the root is actually the same as on the previous pattern. It's on the 5th string and it's exactly the same position. But because we're going to switch our hand position, we're not going to play it with our little finger. We're going to play it with our middle finger. And here's how it looks. The fifth pattern that we are going to learn in the key of G in this case begins on the 12th fret, and the root is on the 6th string. It'll be the third note that we play in the pattern. Let's see how it looks. With these 5 patterns, we're able then to cover the entire fretboard, and we can cover the entire fretboard in any key as long as we know where the root notes are. So let me give you an example. Let's say I wanted to play in the key of D. Well, all right, so I've got these 5 patterns. 2 roots are on the 5th string, 2 roots are on the 6th string, 1 root on the 4th string when I'm looking at the lower 3 strings. All right, well I know that a D, for example, is right here. I also know a D is right here, and there's a D right here. Okay, so because I know those notes, and I learned that when we learned the chromatic scale, I might play this pattern. Connect it here. Oop. And connect that here. And connect it here. So that would be playing the D major scale, but now across the fretboard because I knew where the roots were and I knew the patterns. And that's just one example of how you can connect these patterns together and be able to play what we would hope to play, and that is the major scale in any key across the entire fretboard. Thanks for studying this lesson with me. I hope you'll join me in the next video. We're going to learn some techniques and some exercises that are going to help you to practice these patterns. If you learned from this video, please subscribe and click on the thumbs up. Thanks a bunch, and go have fun playing your guitar.